program has rules they have to follow. Some of those rules do require that the board has to follow the rules that there is criminally injurious conduct, which means it has to rise to the level of a state or a county crime. In this case, your claim was overturned when the information was provided to the board that charges were submitted. We got that information that the charges had been declined due to the fact that it did not rise to a criminal matter, but it was a civil matter. So that's where you'll have the opportunity to appeal at the next board meeting, and when we'll bring it back before the board, and you'll receive that date if you choose to do so.
So if the prosecutor wouldn't have made the decision and we would have made this meeting beforehand, the conversation would have been different.
The conversation might have been different, but again, the victim compensation program goes off information that it had at the time of the meeting. And Laura and I were working with you, and we can talk offline. Again, if you have questions for the board or any other statements you'd like to make, please do so during the call to the public.
Thanks for explaining. It was to my understanding that the victim compensation was not contingent upon whether a crime was exactly committed. Other people have come to the program, and even the police officers have declined to even escalate some police reports up the chain, and they have still walked away from the program receiving victim compensation. I want to understand humbly why my case is different from that.
Well, we look at each case in a silo, and your case is vastly different from the majority of the cases, so we can't really even comment on that because we're looking at apples to oranges in each case, nor can we comment on prior cases that we've rolled on. So if there's something in particular that you're referencing, I would suggest that you speak with your claims specialist, and I don't know their internal process for disclosing this information. They can help you with these other cases that have been heard if they're able to do so, but that's not something we can share.
It was just to share how it feels on the receiving end. It was already bad enough to hear the bad news from the prosecutor because they do have a lot of power. They have a prosecutor discretion, and everyone has biases, and I'm not the typical survivor. And unfortunately, it was bad news when they decided to let her walk away, especially when she has a record of doing this to other people. When police reports were pulled up from my hometown, and I spoke with previous partners. So we're already letting a criminal walk away with it, and they're going to repeat the cycle of behavior to the next person. So it's disappointing that to also get the bad news on top of that. It almost seems like the prosecutor just went out of his way just to make sure that nothing even goes in my favor. So it's disappointing.
Sorry that you're going through that. Is there anything else you would like to add?
At this point, I'd like to move that we actually adjourn the meeting, and I think that if we need to hear this as an appeal, that's certainly something that we can do in a subsequent meeting and give everybody the appropriate amount of time to digest the results and understand what next steps are.
And if I may, we just have, other members of the public, I want to make sure if they need to address the board and give them their opportunity. Would you like to address?
We just came to this, my friend, I didn't even know this was like public, open to the public for review of people's, request for victim compensation.
Mm-hmm.
But I am an extreme victim from 10 years ago. And actually, I called the Maricopa County Attorney's Office and asked about this. And I'm an extreme victim. And I heard you send something prior, something about victims of law enforcement. Well, I heard you say something prior about this. So anyway, let me show you the pictures what happened to me. I was violently attacked, almost killed by violent serial criminal predator, Phoenix Police Officer Jason Gillespie, with his bare hands when I called the police for help. He turned me into a criminal. He turned me into a criminal to cover this all up. Every single Phoenix police, from the bottom to the top, to 2 chiefs, have done everything in their power to cover up this almost killing on an innocent, unarmed senior woman who repeatedly called the police for help. I've been suing the city of Phoenix and being placed in federal court for 10 years. I've been permanently disabled for 10 years. Anyway, like I said, the following year, I was going to my doctors, and my neurologist kept saying, you know, you need to file for disability, and I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills. I ended up in the psych system because I had a seizure, couldn't sleep, had extreme hearing loss. If you hear me struggling to hear, horrific injuries. You fractured the front and the back of my skull in 4 places. Anyway, so I'm just getting back to the topic. So I called and they told me that because I was in between jobs, that, and this is actually good for me to relay, I have a police activist group, for me to relay to other victims of, anyway, that, so they told me because I was in between jobs, that, you know, that I didn't lose money from work. And in fact, I hear how you, you know, the majority of these, for whatever reason, the vast majority of them get denied. In fact, that's exactly what I thought at the time, because they just kind of told me, you know, oh, we can pay for some counseling, and, you know, maybe part of your medical bills. And I was under an access plan at the time because I was in between jobs. And I said, I already have that covered. I said, I have doctors. Some of them aren't the best doctors, but at least I have doctors. And I just gave up because I saw this was just, you know, it was just, I was gonna get compensated very little, if at all, you know. But anyway, I was just wanting to know for somebody like me, in fact, I say this all the time, there should be, I literally should be screaming this from the top of rooftops. There needs to be an 800 number or a hotline in national and every state for victims of police. Victims of police. When something like this happens to you, there's no one to go to, except if you can get the attention of the media or find an attorney. And very few, only about 10% of all police victims ever find an attorney to take their case. Only about 10%. Less than 1% ever get $1 or more. Most of them never get any publicity. It's frightening. So thank you, but I can see you're getting my story. You know, when people see the pictures, different times I talk to people that are, you know, law enforcement, you know, pro-blue people, and they're saying, oh, you must have done something to deserve this, you know, and they will do everything in their power to cover this up, everything. I have gone to I've spoken out at city council many times and gone to any number of meetings. They won't even talk to me. I actually had Chief Sullivan run for me at a GAIN event with I call it my bludgeon head sign. He ran for me. He refused to talk to me. That is how honorable the Phoenix Police Department is on an innocent, I was standing there, it all happened in about a minute and a half. I have some documents if you'd like to have them anyway, but I'm just saying that from my perspective, that you have to be, you know, so like when they wrote up the police reports, that it was all that I was a criminal. No, I wasn't a criminal. I called the police for help. I just called to talk to an officer about what happened at the Circle K. That's all I called for. So then the Circle K, in fact, my friend and I were just talking when we were coming here. We were talking about how the Circle K, he has some cop watch friends that they continually, like if they're doing a cop watch, they continually try to, I'm sure you know what the term is, solicit a trespass. Solicit a trespass, and I don't even know if is that considered illegal? I don't know. I guess they can. You know, if they go to the store and they say, hey, do you want me to trespass them? You know, the store had no problem with it up until the police went into them, you know? But anyway, so what happened was, so the Circle K was mad that I called the police about what they tried to do to me. I just called to talk to what I thought was an officer of the law. He's truly be a psychopath. After he did it to me, he did it to another man. That he grabbed him and threw him to this metal bunker and split the entire top of his head open. And I went out and talked to him. He showed me the horrific pictures. He almost became homeless over. Rodney Sandler's name. He said that the nurses told him Jason Gillespie was pacing in the hall saying, "I hope I didn't fracture his skull too." He's making this Phoenix police officer. You know what he's doing? He's training police. He's making $220,000 a year in their facade of covering this all up. It's truly unbelievable. People tell me my story should be a Hollywood movie, and it needs to be. Anyway, so I'm just wanting to know, for somebody like me, just like I said, there needs to be a hotline in every state for victims of police. You know, they have this victim advocacy office, but it was only during Carlos Garcia's time that he said police victims can go there also. Nobody knew about that, you know? But anyway, when I was searching for help, there was not $1 for me from any organization to help me survive. I finally, thank goodness, was approved for disability in the following year. I've gotten a measly disability for 9 years. But anyway, so I'm just wanting to know, for people like me, and especially so even if I would have been working, and then immediately I couldn't work for the next, you know, and yeah, that eventually then you'll be put on disability if it's as horrific as me, you know, but you know, just like this in the police reports, they put in that the charges were resisting arrest and trespassing. No, you know, they didn't even put Gillespie when he went into the store, you're gonna hear this, his entire investigation was 32 seconds. After I waited for an hour in 105 degree heat out in the parking lot. His entire investigation was 32 seconds. Anyway, but anyway, I'm just saying that for someone like me, who then they lie, you know, in the reports that, you know, that, oh, she was a criminal, she was a suspect, you know, you know, or actually a criminal. They prosecuted me, you gotta hear this. They prosecuted me over the course of 2 years voraciously for third-degree trespassing, trying to get my federal civil rights case dismissed. Voraciously. Thank God, an honest City of Phoenix judge saw through their lies and deception and found me not guilty. Thank God. That's what, you gotta hear this. A City of Phoenix public defender that I talked to just by happenstance one day told me, he said, that's what they do. He said, it's called a cover charge. He said, if you survive, they will charge you with a crime or multiple crimes to cover it all up. Yeah, it's horrific. A story needs to be a Hollywood movie. And it, but anyway, so for somebody like me, that then, you know, that I wasn't considered a victim, they never even told me about any victim services. You know, the social worker at the hospital gave me like a handout, you know, that was it. Anyway, so but for somebody like me that is a victim of law enforcement, how do you rule on that? You know, if the person then, you know, you see the person that has an attorney and this was back before body camera, when there's literally been millions of police victims all covered up in a blue wall, violence, lies and deception, corruption, collusion, millions in this country. Yeah, so how do you rule for something like that?
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I can talk to you just more about victim compensation in general, but as you've heard, each case is different, so the board would have to view each case.
Mm-hmm.
The board does go off the police report, and if someone is listed as a suspect, they would not meet the eligibility criteria for our program. But again, each case is different. I'm more than happy to talk to you when the board.
And also that you only kind of do it within a 2-year statute. Is that a 2-year limit? Is that
The program eligibility requirements are that someone applies within the 2-year time frame unless there's good cause as to why that person did not apply.
Yeah.
And we have to determine with the form what the good cause is.
Yeah.
And I will talk to you after the board meeting.
Okay, good. Okay, great.
Sir, did you want to make a statement?
No, I'm just observing to kind of get glimpses to what exactly you do as a body. So, so I understand the voting members. Do you guys vote?
Sorry.
Do you all vote on stuff or do just a
We
certain?
can't hear if that person's saying anything.
He's just asking who the voting members are and what our role is. So the board is the voting members. We are strictly staff that prepare everything for the board.
Okay, so you're like administrative staff.
Yes.
Okay, who are the board members? Are they elected? Are they public or plus employees, mix or only employees?
They're volunteers from the community, and they are appointed by the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission.
Okay, so if someone's interested in joining the board, they can apply with.
They would contact our office and go through an interview process, and then a recommendation goes over to.
Okay, do you need any criminal justice background?
It's a makeup of various members from the.
Okay.
But no.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and Tyler, just to clarify for both of those public members, but the claims we review in these meetings are the few claims that we are not automatically approving. There's hundreds of claims that are automatically approved every month, so just to clarify.
Okay.
Very beginning of the meeting, we approved a big packet that pushes through this tons of claims that are approved based on meeting all the criteria, which we receive as well. We just don't review them because they meet the necessary criteria. There's no questionable items on those claims. So, and also to reiterate that we are not an investigating agency whatsoever. I just want to make sure that that's so. Again, sorry for everything that's going through, but unfortunately we have no ability to investigate any of allegations on any claims whatsoever. So hearing that, are we good with call to the public?
Sorry, one other question.
This is a federal funded program, is that correct?
We receive federal and state funding. Once we run out of the grant funds, we go into our subrogation and restitution fund.
Okay. Do you know if there is any like federally funded police victims, like for victims' compensation?
I'll touch base with you once the board.
Okay.
meeting is
Okay.
Are we good with call to the public?
Yes.
Hearing none, I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Jen seconds?
10 seconds, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed. Thank you all, and we will see you all next month. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.